If you're a new piano teacher or you're thinking about starting a new piano teaching business, you might be asking yourself exactly how much should I be charging for lessons? You don't want to sell yourself short and undercharge, and you don't want to overcharge as a new teacher who doesn't have a lot of reviews yet and a lot of experience. It can be a very daunting decision. But I'm going to help clarify this for you and give you some things to think about, and I've got a free worksheet to walk you through so you can figure out exactly how much you should be charging for lessons. Hey, if we haven't met, I'm Phoenix and I'm the Tattooed Piano Teacher, and I'm here to help new piano teachers start their business, be profitable, and become amazing piano teachers. So one of the number one questions that I get from new piano teachers or people thinking about starting is, how much do you charge for lessons? How much should I charge? So today, let's break it all down and we'll figure out what's the perfect number for you. Instead of starting by looking at what everybody else is doing, let's start by thinking about your personal goals and where you want this business to go. I've created a worksheet that is available as a freebie on my website. So for this next portion, I'm going to be hopping on my computer to share my screen and we'll go through the worksheet together. So if you don't already have that worksheet in front of you, click the link in the description down below, come along with me and I'll show you how to get started with that. So this is the homepage of TheTattooedPianoTeacher.com, but when you click the link in the description, you'll be led straight to the freebies, to the resources. So click on how much should I charge for lessons. You'll be prompted to make a copy, and you do have to be logged into Gmail, your Google account, in order to access the online editable version. If you prefer to use pen and paper, you can print this out either by clicking this, or you can just print it out right from Google Slides if you'd like to. So we're going to go to page 2 where we'll start to calculate here. Let's zoom in. So instead of coming at this from let's consider what other people are doing and adjust our rates accordingly, we are going to start by thinking about what your goals are and what your needs are. And so that's where this worksheet begins. We're going to start by envisioning your ideal income. Next, we're going to figure your ideal hourly rate. And then we're going to figure out your ideal lesson rates. So step 1, envision your ideal income. Annual take-home income I need to make after expenses and taxes. So this is how much you would like to make in your first 12 months of teaching piano lessons. And this is on the side of your current job if that applies. So this number is going to vary for everybody. So our goal for the first year is to make $50,000 after taxes and expenses. And we can put in 20 hours a week. So this is teaching time, actual teaching time. 20 hours a week is what I'm going to dedicate. How many vacation weeks do you want? Let's say we want to take 4 weeks off over the course of the next 12 months. And again, this is not really a goal planning sheet for like your future. This is not where you want to be in 10 years. This is what you want to do in the next 12 months. So this is a very conservative and practical approach to this. So 52 weeks in a year, we're going to take 4 weeks off. Do a little math to come up with how many weeks in the next 12 months, how many weeks are you going to be teaching? So there we go. Now we have our main calculations. So let's transfer this red box number, in this case 50,000, over to this red box number. Now here's where we're going to take into consideration some expenses, some taxes, some money we want to reinvest back into the business. And of course, we are going to have some expenses, and taxes there's no way to escape those in a legal manner. So we are going to multiply whatever figure you got here, go ahead and multiply by 1.5. And that will take into consideration, it's a pretty conservative number. We're not going to be spending big in our first year. We're going to keep our expenses very low. And this is assuming it's just you teaching, you're not starting a big studio or something like that. So that's my adjusted annual take-home income that I'm going to be shooting for, $75,000 in this case. So write that in the bold red box and then transfer that right over here to the bold red box. So step 2, figure your hourly rate. Now, we're going to divide that by the number of weeks we're going to teach in the year, and that's the yellow box figure that you already figured out above, figuring in vacation time. So again, we're going to do a little calculating. Take that red box figure, divide it by 48, and you will get the amount that you want to make each week, what you want to bring in each week. Again, this is before taxes and expenses. So in my case, I'm just going to round that to $15.60 to make it easy. So that's how much I want to make a week. Now we're going to refer back to how many hours a week can you teach? That's the green box above. So just transferring the same number you came up with before. In this case, we're going to go with 20 hours a week. Okay, one more calculation and we're on a roll. So I'll take that 1560 and I will divide that by the number of hours per week. And my goal, according to my first calculation, is I want to be charging $78 per hour. That sounds pretty good, right? Now, this may sound high, but this is not out of reach. Now, okay, if you do this page and you end up with $1,000 an hour, yeah, we're going to have to readjust a little bit. Or if you end up with like $12 an hour or something like that, yeah, you need to set your goals a bit higher. But if you are in a range that seems, let's say, just out of reach in the reasonable per hour aspect, then you're probably on track. So we are going to stick with this $78 an hour. The nice thing about this worksheet is if this number is not resonating with you, then you can go and adjust, like maybe I'll work a couple more hours a week or a couple less. Maybe I'll readjust my goal a little bit. Maybe I'll take one less vacation week. There's so many places up here that you can just make slight adjustments to bring this number either up or down. All right, but I'm going to stick with 78. That sounds great to me. So step 3 is to figure your lesson rates. So now we're going to go to the next page and we're going to enter in that hourly rate. So you're taking the big, oops, I lost it. The big bold teal box. So that's your per hour rate. And you're transferring it to the next page in every single one of these teal boxes. So if you want to, you can just go ahead and enter in 78, 78, 78, whatever your hourly rate is. We're just going to make a bunch of calculations to see what your lesson rate would be to bring in $78 per hour before taxes and expenses. Okay, there we go. So let's start with private lessons. This is where you're teaching one student one-on-one. Now, this is my favorite math equation. 78 times 1 is 78. So if you were going to teach one student for 60 minutes, you would charge them $78. If you were going to charge one student for a 45-minute lesson, so here's where we'll probably get our calculator out, and we're going to be doing times 0.75 will give us $58.5 for a 45-minute lesson. Now, I added in a 40-minute lesson because this is my personal favorite amount of time to give to a student. I should make another video about that. So 0.6 infinity. So we're just going to say $52 for a 40-minute lesson. And then the classic 30-minute lesson. Divide that number in half, we get 39. All right, now $39 for a 30-minute lesson is not bad. That sounds pretty good to me. For partner lessons, this would be teaching two students at the same time, which again is my favorite way to teach. I love teaching partners. It is so much fun for me and for both the students. It gives the parents a little bit of a break on their tuition cost, and the students are super motivated by working with each other. Just a little plug for that. I'll make another video about that and how I do that. Okay, so if I divide my hourly rate times 0.5, so cutting that in half, this is how much each student in a pair of students would be charged for each 60-minute partner lesson. So two students coming, each student pays $39 per 60-minute lesson. And so you're actually making the $78 to teach the two students. I hope that makes sense. So you're calculating the per student rate, but double that for your income purposes because each student is paying that. All right, let me know in the comments if that makes sense. All right, now if you had a partner lesson for 2 students for 45 minutes, you're going to multiply that hourly rate by 0.375, and we get 29.25, or probably round that down to $29. So that's not bad. Each student is paying $29 per lesson, and they're getting a 45-minute lesson with a friend. So you're seeing how advantageous it can be to look into these partner lessons. Let's say you teach a 40-minute lesson, which again, this is my favorite sweet spot. Partner lessons at 40 minutes. I love it. I try to do as many of those as I can. I already forgot my figure, $26. So look at that. $26 for a lesson. They get 40 minutes with a friend. Ugh, I think it's the best. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. 78 times 0.25 gives me the partner lesson per student rate for a half-hour lesson. Now look at that. That's under $20 per lesson. That's going to look really, really good to parents. All right, now, group lessons. These are calculated based on teaching 3 students at once. So if you were to teach 4, 5, 6 more students at once, then the figure that the student pays would be less, much less, or the amount you make would be much more if you keep the student price the same. But I calculated them at the very minimum for a group lesson, which is 3 students at a time. All right, so let's figure out. If we teach an hour lesson to 3 students at a time, we are looking at $26 per student. $26, they get an hour with you. Wow, that seems like a steal, doesn't it? Okay, so let's see. This would be the 19 and a half. I don't know where that slash came from. There we go. $19.50, they get 45 minutes with you. Again, you're teaching 3. So it's 3 students paying you $19.50 per lesson. You see all 3 of them for 45 minutes. That's what this calculation would be. All right, let's figure out. For a 40-minute lesson, 3 students would pay somewhere around $17. And if you were doing a half-hour lesson, now here they are really going to get a budget-friendly option. If you would do a group lesson for 30 minutes for 3 students, they only have to pay $13 per lesson per student, and you're making $78 per hour. All right. So a little room down here to make some notes. Now here's where you're going to evaluate if this all looks good to you and your figures are working out in a way that's feeling reasonable for the student and your locale and feels like a good wage for you, then here you go. You've got it. You've got your plan. So down here, I want you to jot, let's say I do 10 students, private lesson students, 30 minutes, something like that. And I do 5 pairs of partner. So what you want to do is just kind of start to figure out what your week would look like. So refer back to how many hours you want to work per week, and then how many students you could have in these categories with these time frames. Okay, so just kind of figure out, is it possible to do the schedule you want and to make the money you want? Can you get up to this figure? So here it's kind of up to you to get creative. If your private lesson column is looking too high for your locale, let's say you're looking at like $100 an hour and you live in a lower income community where you don't think that's going to fly, don't give up on your dreams just yet, because look down here. Let's say you did a couple of group classes a week. Let's say you did 4 students instead of 3, so you're already upping your pay. And let's say like $13 is ridiculously cheap. What if you upped this price for a 30-minute lesson? What if you upped that price to $20? Let's say you change this figure to 20. So that's 4 students bringing you $20 per 30-minute weekly lesson. You're making $80 for that 30 minutes, which means you're bringing in $160 whenever you're teaching a group of 4. So if you make these prices slightly higher, because they're still going to be reasonable, $20 for a 30-minute lesson is absolutely reasonable, then you can bring down your private lesson prices a little bit and everything will still work out to meet your yearly goal that you're looking for. So I hope that you are able to find some clarity. So in the comments, let me know what you think. Do you want to hear more about partner lessons? Do you want to hear more about group lessons? Do you want to learn a little bit more in depth about how to pick your prices? I would love to hear from you and create some more videos around this topic. If you're interested to hear exactly what I make, consider checking out this video where I talk about my different streams of income and how much I make for each one. If you haven't already signed up for my 30-day challenge, Start Your Studio, click down below and join me. It's going to be 12 actionable steps emailed to you over the course of 4 weeks so that you can get your business off and running before you teach that first lesson. You'll have everything in place, and I'm going to spill all of my tips and tricks on the business side of things and on getting your brand set up. And as long as we're talking about income, we should probably talk about expenses too. So check out my next video where we're going to go through how much does it really cost to start a piano teaching business. See you on the next video.